In the previous lecturer of accounting, we have discussed about the accounting procedures and the steps to be followed in terms of accounting. And in that lecturers, we have discussed about gap, right? We have discussed about gap. What is gap? Generally accepted accounting principle. Okay, these are used by the Indian companies in order to follow the procedure mentioned in that GAAP. Now, in EPFO examination 2017, there was a question on IFRS. They simply asked what is the abbreviation of this IFRS. It is nothing but International Financial Reporting Standards. International Financial Reporting Standards. Why this emerged? There are many reasons for the emergence of this International Financial Reporting Standards. One is they suppressed the international accounting standards, right? They suppressed the international accounting standards. That means they introduced some of the very fine concepts which can be useful for the accountings. Next, the International Accounting Standards Board 2001 replaced the International Accounting Standards Committee IASC. Now, this International Accounting Standards Board issues IFRS. This can be a direct question asked in the examinations. Do remember IFRS, that is International Financial Reporting Standard, is issued by International Accounting Board or International Standards Accounting Board. Next, this IFRS, it improves the financial reporting internationally. That means, see, the companies like Reliance, Tata, and some of the other companies are not only working in India, right? They are also operating out of India. In order to invest the money outside India, they need to show their accounting. Then the accounting principles that are followed internationally is useful in terms of comparing the companies, right? Therefore, it will improve, that is IFRS will improve the financial reporting internationally, not only globally but also internationally. IFRS are referred to as principle based accounting standards. This is very important. IFRS are referred to as principle based accounting standards. What does it means? See, principle based means it only mentions that how the accounting should be done, right? Whereas GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principle, that was followed in India or that is followed in India is rule based. Okay, is rule based. One is principle based and the other is rule based. Now we will understand what exactly is the difference between this rule based and principle based. Principle based is the accounting standard which only mentions how it should be done, right? It will not say that the simple rules or the compulsory rule should be followed. Whereas the rule based is nothing but it says or mentions that the rule number 1, rule number 2 and all the rules should be followed compulsorily. This is rule based. That means principle based accounting is nothing but it only shows the headline, whereas the sub-content, the headline as well as sub-content is shown in rule based accounting system. Okay, rule based accounting system. Hope you understand the basics of IFRS. Do remember the abbreviations as well, and it is a principle based and not a rule based, whereas generally accepted accounting principle is a rule based. There can be a direct questions asked in the exams on these. Next, we will see what are the difference between IFRS and Indian GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principle or accounting standards. IFRS are principle based. Okay, as we discussed, it is nothing but just headline based. It will just mention how should be done, but it will not mention what exactly are the rules to be followed. This is nothing but IFRS. Whereas Indian GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principles, are rule based. That means it will mention the rules. It will mention the specific rules that should be followed. It will mention the specific rules that are to be followed in terms of accounting. Under the Indian laws, balance sheet is prepared according to Schedule 3. This is very important in EPFO exam 2017. Okay, this question was asked. According to Companies Act, which schedule mentions about the balance sheet? It is nothing but the Schedule 3. The Schedule 3 under Companies Act 2003 mentions the balance sheet or in the form as near thereto. It means a balance sheet item should be detected under the prescribed head. IFRS does not prescribe any form of the balance sheet. This is very important. In only India's Company Act of 2013, generally accepted accounting principle, under this Schedule 3 mentions about the balance sheet, whereas IFRS does not mentions or it does not prescribe to maintain the balance sheet. This is very important difference. Second, India had two options. Okay, as IFRS emerged, India had two options. One, it should follow the gap or it should follow IFRS directly. But when compared globally, American as well as English did not follow them continuously or exactly as it is, but they modified them according to their needs. Right. See, either to there were two options for India, either to adopt IFRS as they are or converge the Indian accounting standards in line with the IFRS. That means modify the IFRS system which is beneficial for the Indian systems and easy to follow. Right. Therefore, it decided to converge its existing accounting standards with IFRS, that is Indian accounting standards. Now it emerged as Indian accounting standards. Okay, Indian accounting standards. Indian GAAP issued by Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants. We have discussed it in earlier class also. If you have missed it, please do watch the videos. The playlist is provided. Even if you want the link will be provided in the description. Go and check it. Okay, please do watch videos because these videos are interlinking and it will be helpful for you to crack the exams. Next, we will see the Indian accounting standards. These are notified under the Companies Act of 2013. Do remember these acts? Although these are factual, but the factual questions are asked in exams. And in 2017 question, there are many more factual questions that came from these lecturers itself. So do watch this. Indian accounting standards are notified under the Companies Act of 2013. They converge with the IFRS and are applicable to companies which are listed on stock exchange in India, that having net worth of rupees 250 crores or more. That means an organization running which has its assets or net worth of 250 crores, okay, or more than this, then there this Indian accounting standards is applicable. Then the third, their holdings, subsidiary, associate and joint venture companies. That means, see, if there is a Reliance Industry, okay, it is the main holdings. Okay, this is main holding. Now their subsidiary is Trends. Okay, it is another company of Reliance itself. Then this is the subsidiary of Reliance. Under all these, that is holdings, subsidiary, associate and joint venture companies, this Indian accounting standards mentioned under Companies Act of 2013 is applicable. Now we will see what are mentioned in this Indian accounting standards. That means what need to be followed or what should be maintained as per the accounting. One is balance sheet. Okay, balance sheet as at the end of the period. This is important. In IFRS, this balance sheet is not mentioned. Do remember, this is major difference. In Indian GAAP it is mentioned. In Indian accounting standard it is mentioned, but in IFRS it is not mentioned. Next, second, a statement of profit and loss for the period. A statement of profit and loss for the period. That means if at all an organization is running, at the end of the period or at the end of the financial period, we will write what are the losses, okay, what are the net profit and net loss. This should be calculated as per the accounting standards of Indian accounting standards. Then third, a statement of changes in equity for the period. That means what are the equities that you have sold, what are the equities that you have bought, what are the shares that you have purchased, should all be mentioned in the accounting books as per the Indian accounting standards. This is important. Next, fourth, a statement of cash flows for the period. That means what is the amount that is debited, what is the amount that is credited to your account, what is the net debit or net credit, and profit and loss should be mentioned in the accounting books as per the Indian accounting standards. Next, notes comprising significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. That means whatever the management takes decisions depending upon the accounting and which affects the accounting should all be mentioned in the accounting books, and it should covered in the form of notes, as well as what was the exact explanation that was mentioned or that was put forth by the management should all be mentioned in this accounting as per Indian accounting standards. Next, comparative information respect of the preceding period as specified in paragraph 38 and 38A. That means there should be a comparative information. See, if in the 2019 period I have done accounting, right, and again in 2021 I am doing accounting, there should be a comparative information between this, and this comparative information should be put in the accounting books as per Indian accounting standards. Indian accounting standards has prescribed that every company shall value its financial assets at fair value. This is very important. Whereas other assets can be valued at historical cost or at the fair value. Now we will try to understand what is the historical cost and what is the difference between historical cost as well as fair value. Just imagine you have started an organization, and while starting you have purchased a machine of 10 lakh rupees. But the current value of this or the present value of this machine is 15 lakh rupees in market. This is historical value and this is fair value, because in the market you are getting 15 lakh rupees if you told you are going to sell that machine. That means that is the fair value that you are getting, whereas the amount that you have paid while purchasing is the historical value. Now what does Indian accounting standard says? It says that every company shall value its financial assets, that is securities, at fair value. What are financial assets or securities? See, I am a company, I own a company and I have purchased 1000 shares of other company. Okay, these are assets for me, right? These are assets for me. Now the asset, that is the share value, when I purchased it was 1000 rupees per share. Okay, per share. But the present market value is 2000 rupees. Now what does the Indian accounting standard says? If at all you have financial assets, that is it may be securities that the government issues, it should be mentioned at fair value. That means I should mention it at the 2000 rupees per share, because I am getting the same value at the market price. That is, in the market, if at all I am going to sell, I am getting this 2000 rupees per share. Therefore, I should mention my asset value or financial asset value in terms of fair value. Next, whereas other assets, that means I have land, I have building, these all assets, okay, these all assets should be mentioned in the historical cost. That means I have 10 machines, okay, I have 10 machines, and the cost while buying it was 10 lakh rupees. But the present value is 20 lakh rupees. I should mention 10 lakh itself in my accounting book. This is nothing but historical value. Next, the fair value is the price that would be received when an asset is sold or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date. Right. Next, Indian accounting standards are principle based. This is very important. Indian accounting standards are principle based and those are not rule based. Whereas Indian general accounting accepted standards, general accepted accounting principles are rule based. Okay. See, it was the EPFO 2017 questions, and even it is asked in NCERT books. This is the basic question of NCERT. Indian accounting standards are based on, one is rule based accounting standards, the other is principle based accounting standards, third is partially rule based and partially principle based, fourth is none. If you have watched this video completely, it is very easy for you to answer this question. Please do answer this question in the comment section. After one day, we will be posting the answer it on the Telegram channel. You can join the Telegram. The link will be provided in description. Right. Next, there are some other terms that we need to deal in order to understand the future lecturers. What exactly is journal? Okay, see. Journal is a book in which transactions are recorded in the order in which they are entered, that is, in chronological order. It is also called Book of Original Entry. Do remember this name. Journal is also called as Book of Original Entry. This can be a direct question asked in the exam. Which is called as Book of Original Entry? The answer is journal. What is journal? It is nothing but the transactions are recorded in the chronological order. That means, see, on April 1, it was a debit and it was a credit. Okay, again on 7th April, it was debit, it was credit. These are the chronological order, date wise, from 1 to 1. It is mentioned in a book, and that book is nothing but journal. It is also called as Book of Original Entry. Right. Next, rules of debit and credit are applied to each transaction. Rules of debit and credit are applied to each transactions at the time of recording in the books of account. Although these lecturers seems to be factual, but the factual information is very important for exam because most of the questions will be factual from the accounting. So do by heart these things, do re-revise, reread the PDFs as well as re-watch the videos in order to get the clarity and fix these contents in your mind. The transactions recorded are transferred into ledger account postings. Okay, now we'll see what is ledger. Ledger is nothing but it will just mention at the end of the year what was the net profit, what was the net loss, okay, what was the credit and what was the debit. This is nothing but ledger. See, this is the ledger. It can be a ledger of cash account, it can be a ledger of capital account, it can be a ledger of salary account. Okay, there will be a ledger for each and every account, and this is the ledger. See, we can see there was a total last balance. It will show the balance, it will show the total amount that is remaining. A book which contains in a summarized and classified form a permanent record of all transactions. This is nothing but ledger. What is ledger? A book which contains in a summarized and classified form a permanent record of all transactions. It contains all the transactions, right? Now we'll see what is trial balance and final accounts prepared from ledger. We've seen what is ledger. Now we will see how a trial balance as well as the final accounts are generated from a ledger. Trial balance. It is a statement prepared with the debit and credit balances of the ledger account to test the arithmetical accuracy of the books. That means, see, always in the accounting, as we have seen in the previous lecture, the debit and the credit should always be equal. That means debit is equal to credit, always it should happen. Now this trial balance, it is prepared with the debit and credit balance of the ledger accounts to test the arithmetical accuracy of the books. See, we can see here, there is debit, there is credit. Finally, this amount is equal. The debit is equal to credit. Then we can say that there is an arithmetical accuracy of the books. A complete set of financial statements is used to give readers an overview of the financial results and condition of a business. Financial statements shall be prepared in the form provided in new Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. The financial statements are comprised of the following. It comprises of income statement, it comprises of balance sheet. Okay, what is income statement? Presents the revenues. Income statement presents the revenues, expenses, and profit and loss generated during the reporting period. This is usually considered the most important of the financial statement since it presents the operating results of an entity. Then what is balance sheet? Presents the assets, liabilities and equity of the entity as the reporting date. That means it will present the asset, liabilities as well as equities on the date that is accounting is prepared or the accounting is reported. The asset or the liabilities and the equity on the date they are reported, it is mentioned in the balance sheets. As we have discussed in the previous lecture, there was a question on cost of goods sold, right? Cost of goods sold. Now we'll see how this cost of goods sold is measured. Cost of goods sold is equal to opening stock plus purchase plus direct expenses minus closing stocks. We will understand each and every term. What is opening stock? See, before starting an organization, I will purchase clothes of 100 rupees. This is my opening stock because I have not started to resale this cloth. Then this is my opening stock. What is my purchase? See, I have purchased 100 cloths, but in this I have got 20 cloths which are in bad condition, and I wish to resale this to the supplier who has supplied me. Now I have only 80 cloths remaining with me. Now this 80 cloths is nothing but my net purchase. Now plus direct expenses. What are direct expenses? The expenses that I have done directly on this clothing. That means I have purchased it from a supplier. I need to bring this from the supplier to my organization. Here the transportation is the direct cost that I should spend on the cloths, or it is called direct expenses. Minus closing stock. That means after reselling, I have remained with 10 cloths. This is nothing but closing stock. Okay. From this formula, we can calculate the cost of goods sold. This is very important. Do remember this formula. It can be directly asked, or in the form of numerical they can ask the question. Cost of goods sold is equal to opening stock plus net purchase plus direct expenses minus closing stock. See, here is an example of statement of profit and loss for the year they have mentioned for 2016. What all it will be there? There will be income, right? Other expenses, total expenses, then extraordinary items. You can read this. There is no need to remember what are all mentioned in the profit and loss accounting, but you should just know the basics of it. And this video is more than enough for the examinations. If you want to read it more, you can read it from the PDF that will be provided in the Telegram channel. You can get the link of the Telegram in the description. See, these are the two questions that were asked in EPFO exam 2017. First one is, in the context of accounting, the term IFRS, this is important, stands for, that means they are asked the abbreviation. One is International Financial Reporting Standards. Second, Indian Financial Reporting Standards. Third is Indian Financial Reporting Systems. And fourth is International Financial Reporting System. Here the answer is International Financial Reporting Standards. International Financial Reporting Standards. Next, the second question was, under which schedule of the Companies Act 2013 the formats of the financial statements are prescribed? If you have watched this lecture, or you can answer this question very easily. Do comment the answer of this question. Okay, do comment it. We will answer the same question in the Telegram channel by tomorrow. Let's see who can answer it. Thanks for watching the video. If at all you are new to the video or channel, please do subscribe and press the bell icon. And we are very close to Social Security syllabus. We will be ending the syllabus by tomorrow. Just only one act is remaining. If you haven't watched that, please do cover the syllabus from the playlist that is provided on the YouTube. Thank you. Stay tuned.